Hi and welcome to Northgate Arinzo and Reality's Coffee Break series. In today's short video, we're going to be exploring how we install Reality, and then subsequently in the second part of the video, how we can restore data from a D3 type environment into that Reality database we've created. So for the first part, let's take a look at how we install Reality. And for today's session, we're going to be using Windows Server 2008 to do that installation. So here we are within our Windows 2008 server environment, and the first thing you're looking at now is the splash screen what appears when we click on the setup.exe from the Reality installation CD. Now, because we're later going to be installing D3 data, what we need to do is select the type of environment that we want Reality to behave as. So we're going to select D3 in this case. Now, if we chose to select the demo button, it would install a complete demo version of Reality for you, together with a very small database so you could start to play immediately. Today, we're going to actually take the custom installation method, and we'll take a look at how we can install just Reality from that environment. So we click on the custom button, and what's now going to come up is a series of menus to choose which version of the version of Reality. We need to accept the license, and then we're going to go to Core Reality Software, and then we're going to choose Reality New. Now it's going to ask me, do I have a valid key file? If I say no to this, which is what I'm going to do today, it's going to install an evaluation version of Reality. If I said yes, it would then ask me, well, where's your key file? And that would be a valid version of Reality where you've licensed it from Northgate. So we're going to click no. It's going to ask me for my initials purely so it can record who did the installation. So it's going to go off and now start that installation process for us. Now, as the installation goes forward, one of the things that you'll need to do at the end of the installation is to actually log off the Windows Server environment and then log back on to complete the installation. And all that's doing is allowing us to ensure that the environment is fully set up before you start to play with Reality. So it's still actually running in the background. So here this is actually starting the actual Reality install at this point. So we're going to click next to just install Reality. It's going to ask us which drive letter we want to select it on. I only have one drive today, so it's going to install it in the C drive. And now where it's going to install it is always in a directory off of the root of the drive letter called realman. So it's now busy installing all of the software that Reality needs to run. Once this is complete, we'll log off, we'll log back on, and then we'll be able to create a physical database so we can then start part 2 of the installation, which was actually restoring our D3 data into the environment. Now, while this is installing, some of the other features and benefits you get with Reality are explored in some of the other videos. Some of the key things that Reality has are things like Reality Web Services, an XML parser and generator, fast backup capability, and this is where we can do a Reality backup of your data very, very quickly indeed. And then also you've got all of the resilience capabilities, which is a very strong argument for taking a further look at Reality. So the installation is nearly complete at this point. Okay, so the installation is now complete. So we click on finish. Now what we need to do is log off and log back on to just complete that environment setting. So we can shut down our installation. It actually has now told me that we need to log off. So let's log off. And now we're going to log back onto our data, onto our server. Now, once this is logged on, what we're now going to see is the installer automatically restart. The installation is complete, and then we can just shut down the installer process, and we can begin to then think about how we create an environment to actually restore our data into. So here's the installer restarting. It's come back up. It's finished, so we can just simply close that down. Now we've fully installed Reality. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to fire up a Windows command prompt. And we're actually going to create a database. So we're going to say mcdbase is the command for creating a database. Now we need to give it a database name. So we're going to call it testdb in our case. Now it's going to come into a menu, and one of the things we're going to need to change is the size of the database, because 20,000 frames is a very small database and won't be enough to restore our data into. So we're going to change the size of the database, and we're going to give it 100 meg, which should be plenty for the purpose of this demo. Now you'll notice that there are other things we can change in here, but for this for the video today, we're just going to accept all the other defaults. So we're going to type in a B for build. Now what that's doing now is going off and constructing that database for us. So now it's built that skeleton, and now it's loading the data into the database that it requires to enable you to effectively run a Reality client. So we'll just let that finish. And that's it, that's complete. So now we can actually log on to our database. And from a command prompt, how we can log on is we just say Reality is the command, and then the name of our database. And our database we call testdb. And now hopefully this is a familiar TCL type prompt. So we've now seen how to install Reality, create yourself a database, and now the second part of this is how do we get our D3 data from a save into that Reality environment. So let's now take a look at that process. Okay, so here we are back on our Windows 2008 server, and we're sat at our TCL prompt in our testdb database that we created earlier. Now you'll notice that I've also got a sudo d3 tape image, which is the data we're going to restore into our Reality database. But the first thing we need to do is convert that into a format that Reality understands. So the command we're going to use to that is something called floppy to tape. So we're going to type in floppy to tape, and then we're going to give it the directory of where that tape image is in. Now it's going to ask us for the tape image that it's called, so it's new demo.d3p. Doesn't matter about case. And once we press return, that's then gone off and converted that tape. Now it's taken a very short period of time because there's not that much data inside this tape image. So now we can actually restore that data. So we're going to say tDevice to set this tape image up, a unit number, and we're going to give it the full path to that and new file. So it's new demo.d3p.rti. And then we're going to say tattach to attach to that unit. Now we're going to issue tRewind, and then we're going to issue two tForwards, and the two tForwards are because on a D3 save there are two records at the front of the tape that Reality is not interested in. And now we're in a position where we can do our account restore. So we can just say account-restore, and we're going to say asterisk. Now because it's D3 we're restoring through, we also need the options M0. And that's restored our account. Now we can't log on to that account yet because what we haven't done now is process the master dictionary of that account to make it a Reality master dictionary. So let's explore how we do that. So the first part of this process is to use SSM, the security, because we need to create a default user. So we're going to go into option 2. We're going to say default. It's going to say enabled. We're going to make it enabled. Just change the, option 13 to enabled, and we're just going to file that away. Okay, now we can actually migrate the account. So we just say migrate.account. And in this case, we're going to say new demo because it was the new demo. You could use asterisk there if you've restored multiple accounts. Have I created my default user? Yes. And it's going to say, well, okay, which version of multi-value did you come from? In our case, it was D3. So we're going to pick option 2. And we're going to migrate our new demo account. Now that's complete now, so we can log on to that account. We can log to that account now and start to do whichever processing we want to do with the data we've restored. So for instance, we can now see the files that we actually restored into that account. And that's really the purpose of today's video. So you've seen how we install Reality, create ourselves a database environment, and then subsequently how we restore data from a D3 environment into that database we created and subsequent is now available for use. So I'd just like to thank you for watching this video today, and please look forward to other videos in the coming weeks and months. Thank you.